of the Synthetic Drug Coalition. Welcome, everybody. I'm just going to get started with a few administrative announcements and then turn it over to our co-chairs. First, I want to share with you that we have a synthetic drug resolution that the United States is sponsoring in the UN General Assembly plenary with a goal of adoption by consensus with all UN member states by next Monday, December 18th in New York City. The US introduced this resolution to highlight the emerging global issues related to synthetic drugs and urge widespread and unified support to address their associated public health and security challenges. This resolution will align with US efforts to enhance international cooperation on this issue through the Global Coalition and in the UN Commission on Narcotic Drugs. And we urge your governments to demonstrate strong support for this effort to further elevate synthetic drugs as an urgent and international priority by co-sponsoring this text and by voting in favor of this issue as well. Secondly, related to civil society engagement, in the July 2023 Ministerial Declaration on accelerating and strengthening the global response to synthetic drugs, the governments that participated at that point expressed interest and their commitment to taking into account input from civil society during this year-long coalition effort. Now, what we're looking at is establishing several mechanisms to solicit civil society input over the coming months. And we're going to post more information on our website, globalcoalition.us. But in short, the way that we're looking at engaging civil society, as we are not bringing them into these monthly meetings that we have, we are going to look at 5 steps or 5 processes. One, we're going to encourage countries to establish national dialogues with their own civil societies. And the US will be organizing its own roundtable with US civil societies. Our White House Office of National Drug Control Policy will establish a January 27 roundtable with US civil society organizations. And we encourage other governments to do the same and also establish their own dialogues. Secondly, we're going to have a global civil society forum that will be led by the Vienna NGO Committee, and that will be also organized toward the end of January. It'll look very similar to the ministerial in a lot of short statements from a lot of NGOs around the world. Third, we are going to invite civil society organizations to exchange experiences through the coalition website, and we will be publishing their input in a special section of our website, which will be dedicated to them. Fourth, we will be also receiving recommendations from civil society organizations via the coalition website, as we will from governments and other sectors as well. And finally, we will encourage civil society organizations to share achievements that they've made also through the coalition website so that we can post that and the countries, governments here could also review those. And finally, at the discretion of co-chairs, civil society representatives may be invited to present at specific sub-working group meetings. We leave that to the discretion of the co-chairs, and we'll discuss that further as the months go by. So that is a bit on civil society engagement. Now, finally, I want to just share once again that we do have our agendas located on the website, the coalition website, under the monthly tab. So we have the December topics there, and we will be posting future agendas for the coalition meetings, January, February, and so on the website. So I encourage you to look at that as well as past videos if you've missed any sessions. And finally, now I'm going to transition to our East co-chairs, Mason Smith and Anthony Conway, to begin with their opening remarks. And we're going to have presentations today on border management program and the INTERPOL synthetic drug operation. I encourage all of you to consider your interest, your country's interest in participating in these initiatives. We will be asking for your input toward the months of January, February, so that we can start then preparing for our operational phase, which will begin in April. And with that, I turn it over to our co-chairs and will stop sharing my screen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brian, and obviously thank you to your team. You guys have done an absolutely amazing job so far administering the Global Coalition. Welcome everyone to the 3rd session of Sub-Working Group 1.2, which was established to promote international cooperation to address the enduring threat of the trafficking of synthetic drugs. Today's 3rd session is going to be focused around targeting and border operations.
My apologies, I think we are losing your audio. If you don't mind, can you speak a little bit closer to your computer? Thank you. And can we try the audio test? That's much better. Thank you very much.
Just confirming that this audio is better.
Yes, this audio is much better. Thank you very much. And you may want to configure your speaker as your headset. I'm not sure you're able to hear us right now.
Please.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a lot better.
It's a lot better. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Apologies all. It's important to note that we're here to share our experiences and to learn from the experience of others. And in saying that, we're now operating in a complex, volatile and technologically driven world. Keeping pace with the dynamic nature of transnational, serious and organised crime threats is becoming increasingly difficult. Rapid advancements in technology, geopolitical shifts and the borderless nature of crime is fundamentally changing. Synthetic drug trafficking remains a highly profitable business for drug trafficking organisations who seek to take advantage of markets that appear to have an insatiable appetite for synthetic drugs. From a law enforcement perspective, our primary role is that of supply reduction, and to do that it is critical that as a global law enforcement community we continue to enhance international cooperation, intelligence sharing, cross-border targeting and operations in order to create a hostile environment for drug trafficking organisations to undertake their business. So to start the discussions today, we're going to have a couple of presentations. I'd like to firstly introduce our presenters, Valentina Pancieri, who is the Regional Coordinator, Law Enforcement and Training Affairs Border Management Program of the UNODC Regional Office for Southeast Asia. Also, I'd like to introduce Police Major General Boumony, who is the Deputy Director of Law Enforcement Department of the National Authority for Combating Drugs in Cambodia. Welcome, Valentina. Welcome, Cao, who are going to present to us on the Border Management Program. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I just would like to know if you can see my screen.
Valentina,
we can see your screen.
We can see a video, but not the shared screen if you are trying to share a screen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me see here. Share screen, this one. Can you see?
And we can see your screen, thank you.
Okay, perfect. You can see this, right?
You may want to bring your PowerPoint presentation into slideshow mode. Thank you very much. We can see your slides.
Perfect. So thank you very much, and warm greetings from Kanchanaburi in Thailand. My name is Valentina, and I lead the law enforcement and training portfolio of the Border Management Program at the UNODC Regional Office for Southeast Asia and the Pacific. Today, I will share my presentation together with our dear counterparts from the National Agency for Combating Drugs of Cambodia, because we want to give you a little bit of background of how ASEAN is managing border management and what UNODC is doing to support the ASEAN agenda on border management, and also to give you some flavor from the ground and hear directly from our counterparts about how countries implement border management strategies. So this is a little bit of background of why we have an issue and why we need to work on border management, and we need to strengthen information exchange, cross-border cooperation, but also domestic cooperation among law enforcement agencies. As these numbers speak for themselves, just a couple of things. First of all, meth is still the #1 drug trafficked in the region, but ketamine is also increasing in the region. And this is demonstrated by the industrial scale clandestine labs discovered in Cambodia, but also by big recent seizures happening in Laos and Vietnam. The preliminary data for 2023, as you can see, they go just up to June this year, but indicate that this year could surpass seizures of 2022. There has been and there is a shift in trafficking routes, and Laos continues to play a big role as a transit countries towards the region, but also internationally. But also there has been an increase in large maritime shipments of synthetic drugs seized in the region. So this to give you a background of why ASEAN set a priority on border management and information exchange. We have a problem, they know it, and they are trying to take steps toward it. There has been the ASEAN Border Management Cooperation Roadmap is a policy framework that has been endorsed by all ASEAN member states and really focuses on information sharing, cooperation, capacity building, cross-border crime prevention, community engagement, and ASEAN member states said we need to cooperate, and the only way is information exchange and cooperation on investigations in order to counter this threat. Action 9 of this policy framework sees the Border Liaison Office Network as one of the tools to be used for information exchange. UNODC is supporting the Border Liaison Office Network for over 20 years. We always take pride in saying that this instrument is available and is country-owned, but UNODC supported. And this really changed the old dynamics because countries want this. It's not an international agency coming to to introduce something new to them. We are simply supporting their will. BLOs are teams of different agencies, and this includes counter-narcotics, customs, immigration, border guards that are based at 120 border crossings, land and maritime and riverine, especially in the Greater Mekong subregions. We have Cambodia, China, Indonesia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam that are joining the network, and about 2,000 officers working at the border and exchanging information with one another. When there is a BLO on one side of the border, we always have a paired BLO on the other side of the border. And this is really to streamline information exchange at the local level. How is UNODC supporting the BLO network beside the policy engagement and really ensuring that the ASEAN framework continues being supported? We provide a lot of technical support with training, with procurement of technical equipment for law enforcement. We support BLO cross-border exercises and visits. We work a lot with training academies and provide ad hoc training based on the actual threats at the border. I now would like to give the floor to my colleague and friend, Mr. Boumony from NACD, because we can hear from him about an operation that was successful and was conducted as part of the BLO network. Thank you. Mr. Boumony, the floor is yours.
Yeah, good morning. This is Boumony speaking. I'm from Cambodia. Forgive me if there are any interruption along the presentation. It could be because I'm traveling through the borders. Before I start the session, allow me to give you the background of why we decided to conduct this operation. Due to the latest development of the drug-related crime, did you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Did you hear? Okay. Due to the latest development crime become concern, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. Even though the border checkpoint under close or restriction, but truck problem is still alarming. The initiative of the pilot operation under the 2023 Great Mekong Action Plan operation aligned with ASEAN Border Management Cooperation Roadmap. The border mechanism, the BLO mechanism is really important for information sharing and lead to the successful interdiction of the cross-border related crime. We would appreciate thank and for the initiative and supported from the UNODC on this mechanism. The BLO make officials know where to go when they have problem. So this is one of the timely exchange mechanism existing in this region. For better understanding of the cooperation between the Cambodia and Vietnam, we had selected the 4 BLO from each side, I mean 4 from Cambodia and 4 from Vietnam as the BLO partner to join this operation. As you see on the screen, the name and the location of the BLO. And the reason why we choose this BLO for join this operation, we observed that this BLO and border checkpoint become the hot spot for illicit trafficking activity. Of course, as I mentioned, these are 4 from each country, Cambodia and Vietnam as the partner. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So here is the objective of the operation that highlighted. First is to foster the cooperation at the regional between the BLO in the fighting against illicit drug. The secondly, enhance the national coordination among law enforcement agency in the identify and interdiction the illicit trafficking, as well as during the post seizures investigation. To share with you that the BLO comprised of multi-agency that are stationed in the border checkpoint. Like in case of Cambodia, we have custom, we have immigration, we have the border patrol police and other local authority, also the members of BLO. This to create the platform to replicate and expand the cross-border exercise. Next slide, please. This is the highlight of the pictures of the pilot operation. Even though the duration of the operation, it took only 45 days, but we had achieved a great result as illustrated on the slide. Of course, the numbers of narcotics are shown on this slide that we have seen from both sides. So it seems like it's not much in terms of the volume. You see it is roughly around 120 kilogram of the narcotic, namely heroin is about, and the secondly is ketamine. So the heroin now is under investigation. So even though we see and we stop during the operation, but we still are under investigation to seek the master. The operation is not ended by this total narcotic seize, and the numbers of vehicle and passenger has been checked during the operation. But the advantage of this operation is to promote stronger institutional collaboration. The BLO partners had signed MOU, I mean the agreement between BLO and BLO to more foster more stronger collaboration in the future. One important is public awareness. All the law enforcement in the borders community, and not only that law enforcement itself, but the people living the community around the along the border that we conduct the operation there come in more well aware and come in more willingly to join with us. I would conclude my presentation here, and we are warmly welcome for your question and comment. Thank you.
Just from the chair, thank you so much for just a really informative presentation. It was quite confronting to know that in 2023, over 151 tonnes of synthetic drugs have been seized today. It's really interesting to identify where the greatest risks are that you've identified, being the porous borders with large-scale overland shipments and also shipments by sea. And thank you for the case study on the success of a border investigation between Cambodia and Vietnam. You spoke about the need to promote information sharing within and with the BLO network. My question is this: what kind of information sharing is currently occurring, and what types of information do you think the BLO network need from other countries to allow it to do its job effectively?
Thank you for the comment, Anthony. Information sharing is very important, and it's so key for the law enforcement that usually the law enforcement keep it as a treasure, as we all know. It's the BLO network has a few advantages for information sharing. First of all, there is for sure direct information sharing happening at the border. Most of the office, as I said, the BLOs, there is one BLO on one side of the border and there is a BLO on the other side. And these people really work pretty much on the daily basis with one another. So there is a good level of trust between them, and that for sure helps. The information received from the BLOs is that passed on to the HQ level. So following the actual protocol that are in place for each of the agency. We have, it's a mixed team of law enforcement working together on cases, because we may have a case on drug trafficking that also includes some human trafficking, human smuggling, etc. So to streamline also domestic cooperation, the officers work together. The information uses the platforms for information exchange that are already in use for the countries. And UNODC has been perceived as a neutral space to really conduct complex information. The example of this, complex situation and discussions. The example of this operation is one of them, meaning that the two countries led their own operations. We are not a law enforcement agency, but we facilitated that initial discussion. We facilitated bringing people together because we are a neutral entity, and that is our added value. Over. Mr. Boumony, would you like to add anything on this?
Okay, just want to add some idea on this information exchange. We have set up the group chat between the two BLO partners. So complete of all the BLO members, especially for main actor like as custom, immigration in the chat room. So as Valentina said, we bring this agreement from information from the national down to the local and the BLO itself. So from now on, they have assigned officials to respond at the focal point of each BLO, so they know who to contact immediately to take action. Like in case of ketamine that we see in Cambodia, we stop by the border in Cambodia. Actually, it's in Vietnam side. They arrest men in Vietnam side, so they pass to us. So we are lead to search, investigate, and see all this ketamine in Cambodia site. So just the same day, so we know where to go and who to exchange this information to the right person. Thank you for all from Cambodia.
Any other questions from the group? Well, Valentina and Major General Boumony, thank you so much for your time. Again, a really informative presentation of value to this group, and will no doubt generate some discussions later on today. Thank you for your time. Everyone, our next presentation is actually pre-recorded. It's a presentation on the Interpol synthetic drug operation for 2024, and the presenter is Mr. David Caunter, who is the Assistant Director of the Criminal Networks Subdirectorate within Interpol. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. On behalf of Interpol, I would like to thank the Chair for this opportunity to discuss how Interpol can support the global coalition to address synthetic drug threats, specifically in the framework of this important working group. My name is Dave Caunter, and I'm the Assistant Director for Criminal Networks in charge of all serious and organized crime programs at Interpol. As you know, the threat of synthetic drugs has expanded globally as criminal groups look to maximize profits, minimize risk, diversify their holdings as they search for emerging markets. This is a global problem which demands a global response. As Interpol, we are the only international law enforcement organization operating globally across our 196 member countries. Our network of national central bureaus serves as an extension of the Interpol General Secretariat in connecting and supporting law enforcement investigations and operations. These are complex criminal groups which have no borders, unlimited resources, and do not adhere to the rule of law. We have also seen a shift to both polydrug and polycrime modalities, which presents a significant challenge for law enforcement as criminal groups continue to use our operational and institutional silos against us. Interpol can play a key role in breaking down those barriers as we look to work in complement and not in competition to bilateral efforts through increased intelligence sharing while leveraging our capabilities and advanced policing tools. As we look to address the threat of synthetic drugs, we must ensure that we have a true 360-degree approach where we don't just focus on source countries, but target the entire supply chain in a layered approach. We cannot fight crime in a vacuum. If we do, the only people who benefit are the traffickers. In support of this effort, we have created a new program entitled Interpol's Response Against Illicit Drugs, or IRAID for short. IRAID creates a long-term framework to fight illicit drug trafficking at the global level. The program is centered around 4 key pillars: operations and analysis, capacity building and training, partnership and outreach, while targeting the proceeds of crime. Under IRAID, in support of the coalition, Interpol is excited to announce our plan to lead a global synthetic drug operation in 2024. An Interpol counter-drug operation, known as Lionfish, is a proven model which brings together member countries for a short-term counter-drug operation. Historically, these operations yield impressive results. Our last Lionfish operation, Lionfish 5, brought together only 22 countries across Asia and the Middle East, resulting in the seizure of 35 tons of illicit drugs, 291 tons of precursors, and over 1,300 arrests. This operation kept over $717 million out of the pockets of traffickers, but more importantly, kept those drugs out of our communities. As we begin to organize the global operation on synthetic drugs, we ask the countries of the coalition for your support. As a global operation on synthetic drugs, we have a great opportunity to impact the synthetic drug trade on all levels. During the pre-operational phase, Interpol will conduct a threat assessment and use that data to identify intelligence and capacity building gaps related to synthetic drugs. During the operational phase, Interpol will coordinate global actions across sea, land, and air smuggling routes in partnership with coalition members and Interpol member countries, resulting in the dismantlement of criminal organizations and the large-scale seizure of synthetic drugs and precursors. During the post-operational phase, Interpol will analyze all seizure data to produce a tailored operational analysis report, which will be shared back to the coalition. This operation will increase the capacities of member countries and create a sustainable program to address the threat of synthetic drugs. In closing, we look forward to working with coalition partners on this important operation. Countries cannot fight synthetic drugs alone. We must be collaborative in our approach, creative in our thinking, as we work together towards a common goal, the safety and security of our citizens and our communities. Thank you.